been a rather big patch on the CTE client, I think just slightly over 1 gig, and of course we have a whole heap of jungle map updates, but I'll cover that later in the video. Also included in this patch is something rather mysterious, and I hate to say it, I really did think this was all behind us, but we might be seeing Phase 5 of the Phantom program in the jungle map. Take this all with a grain of salt because who knows what's going to happen in the future. But at the medical facility, if you go to the west side of the fence, you'll find a shipping container with this very out of place touchpad. And as you can see, we have a handprint on the left side, and if I zoom in on the right side, we have a few interesting things here. On the top it says online with 4 hashtags below it, maybe indicating you also need a 4-digit password of some kind. There's also some writing below it, but I couldn't make it out as it's very low resolution. Also, we have what looks to be the Frostbite engine logo right down below, which I notice actually resembles Frostbite version 1 logo. I'll put on screen the version 1 logo and also below it what the modern version 3.1 looks like. I don't know what you guys think, but it seems to look like version 1. And this is not the end of the mystery, however, because the shipping container can be opened, and as we can see, we have stairs we can walk down with a security camera panning from left to right, like we've seen a few times in other areas of the game. One thing that I found interesting with the camera, while on the empty server, the camera just simply pans from left to right. However, on a populated server, it actually locks onto you and tracks your movement while making a beeping noise. I'll keep quiet so you guys can hear. So there we go, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. This could end up meaning absolutely nothing, but I guess we're going to have to wait for either future patches or until the jungle map is released to the retail client to see what the reason is behind this mysterious shipping container. So let's talk about what else came with this patch. We didn't see anything drastic, and just like the last update, there's extra detail and artwork you'll find at various places of the map. So far, my favourite one is the crashed transport heli in between the ghost town and the medical facility. I think it's a pretty cool idea, however I think it can look even cooler if it actually crashed in one of the vine trees you'll find around the map. My next favourite part of the update is the detail and artwork that's gone into the medical facility. If you guys remember the backstory of the map, this building is where the scientists did experiments on monkeys which led to an outbreak of some kind of disease. Well, the buildings are actually starting to look like these actions took place here, and as we can see, we have cages and even banana peels left over around the place. One thing some of you guys said in my last video was these buildings look like no one ever lived inside of them. Well, slowly these kind of details are starting to come into the map. We have vending machines, and upstairs we have beds and lockers for the people that worked here. And one thing that I found that was pretty funny was on the bench here, there's a newspaper that has the Battlefield 3 cover art with the title Battlefield 3 Rocks, and if my memory is correct, this exact same newspaper actually appeared in BF3, so I assume they're just reusing the same asset. But going back on topic, the outside buildings also now look like people actually lived here. We have cages for the monkey test subjects as well as other medical equipment like you can see. So basically the entire capture point is really starting to look like it matches the backstory of the map. Moving over to the temple, you may have just noticed the American flag waving over there. That's because the teams have changed back to US versus China, which a lot of people wanted back instead of Russia and China. The back of the temple has seen a whole heap of added detail. Before this patch, pretty much nothing was behind here. But as we can see, there's a few structures and rock formations, which is cool, but I really don't see why the back of the temple is seeing so much detail, as I'm sure most players will just be at the actual temple either defending or attacking the flag. Also, you'll find flowers have been added around the map, which honestly I'm not too keen on, but it's not something I really care too much about, as I'm sure I'll barely even notice it in normal gameplay. And there's also been a full audio pass, which I'm assuming is the additional ambient sounds. If you join an empty server, you can actually hear a lot of insect and animal noises, which is great to build the atmosphere. And finally, moving on to the logging camp, going back to what I said before about the medical facility looking like people actually lived here. Well, the same kind of treatment has been applied to this capture point as well. Apart from the ghost town, this has turned out to be one of my favourite points of the map to play on. I've had some amazing gunfights here, attacking the flag while trying to figure out if the enemy is below the walkways or if they're hiding in one of the huts. Also, you can see there's a surfboard that says something about Serlin's Jungle Party. I'm assuming that's a reference to Tigger, the DICE LA dev. There's also music from the radio, and for some reason we have a double door fridge at the back here. But basically you'll find a lot of little details like this around the point. I imagine in future patches we'll see even more detail added. Also, the results for the second game mode survey is in, and Team Deathmatch is a winner. I believe there's already a few TDM jungle map servers running, so I'm going to try and get some gameplay because from what I've read, people are saying the layout is actually really damn enjoyable. Before I finish the video, I'm going to go off topic for a bit. I want to mention a few points about the recent CTE patch. Alongside of all the CMP updates, there's been a few weapon tweaks. I'm going to test them over the next coming days and we'll make a video about it. But basically it looks like shotguns have been nerfed. I'm not too sure just yet by how much, but according to the patch notes, buckshot damage has been reduced. Also, the pellet count of some of the shotguns have been reduced as well. I don't have any stat details just yet, but I'm going to try and get my hands on it over the next coming days. Also, we have 2 new arrow types for the Phantom Bow, which actually came in the last patch, but I believe the poison arrow has been updated, so I'm going to test them out as well. But anyway guys, that's it for today's video. Make sure to let me know what are your thoughts on the mysterious shipping container. Do you think it has anything to do with another Phantom program, or if it's something else? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.